We've always said that Israel had a right to defend itself. But unfortunately, Israel's response has gone too far, and its actions have caused a terrible humanitarian disaster. And the restrictions imposed on the delivery of humanitarian supplies are completely unacceptable. In our opinion, it may even be a likely breach of international humanitarian law. So it cannot be justified. We join countries around the world to call for an immediate ceasefire, for the unhindered delivery of humanitarian aid, for the protection of civilians, and also for the return of hostages. Of course, beyond the current crisis itself, Singapore also supports the right of the Palestinian people to their own homeland. This has to be done as part of a negotiated two-state solution, because that is the only way for a comprehensive, just, and durable solution to this long-standing Israel-Palestine conflict. So there have been international efforts on both fronts, on the ceasefire, the return of hostages, as well as on the roadmap towards a negotiated two-state solution, including the efforts by France and Saudi Arabia for a conference next month. We will participate in this. We will join with the international community to watch such a durable solution.
Thank you very much. All will depend on the choices to be made by the government of Israel in the coming days, and it is very clear today that we cannot allow the situation to continue. The humanitarian blockade which is prevailing today means that the situation is unbearable on the ground. A few weeks ago, I went to the border together with President Sisi, and I could see the situation for the wounded, which the Egyptian hospitals are taking care of. But some initiatives that were taken and happening to March are no longer possible. And the whole of the humanitarian aid coming from all around the world is being blocked by the Israeli army. This is not acceptable. And today, we need to provide water, food, medication. We need to allow those wounded to exit Gaza. And unless there is a proper humanitarian solution in the coming hours and days, of course, we will have to strengthen our diplomatic stance. And of course, it's also about respecting human rights, and we may have to apply sanctions, just like we did on an individual basis against some Israeli settlers who targeted civilians on occupied Palestinian territories. But I still have hope that the Israeli government will change and allow humanitarian aid. And indeed, France will contribute to putting together this conference in New York in June, and I had a very important discussion with the Prime Minister here and our cooperation in the context of this conference. I also had a very fruitful discussion with President Prabowo of Indonesia, who made public his position a few days ago. And it's very important because he said that when Israel recognizes Palestine, Indonesia will recognize Israel, which is not the case. And what we're building and will be working on in the coming weeks is, of course, a political answer to the crisis. And yes, it is a necessity, because today, beyond the humanitarian tragedy, what is at stake is the very possibility of having a Palestinian state that is being challenged, and we can see that some are trying to make it impossible. So what we're defending is a political outcome to the situation. There is the Hamas terrorist attack on the 7th of October, which France condemned. And of course, Israel has a legitimate right to defend itself against Hamas, which is a terrorist group. We are still fighting for all the hostages to be set free, but there cannot be only a security answer. It also shall be a political answer. So freeing the hostages the demilitarization of Hamas, reforming the Palestinian Authority, with ending up with a Palestinian government that recognizes Israel. This is the only outcome for the security of all. And it's the only way to find peace for the region. It's not only a moral duty, but a political necessity. And anyone who cares about the right of peoples to decide about their future, and for all of those for which the Israel security matters, should end up working together in that direction. This is what we're trying to do. And the date of the 18th of June should be an important date in this respect.